Alright, audio looks good. I think it's streaming. Where's my chat? Okay. I think we're going. It says it's private. Why does it say it's private? So annoying. Sure. Okay. Okay, it says it's streaming, but I don't see a chat. Still don't see a chat. That's cool. That's annoying. Why is my chat not showing up? It says I'm streaming. I assume I'm streaming. I don't know if people can see me or hear me. Hopefully they can. Well, if you are watching, what's up, everyone? I'm not seeing my chat through OBS, but maybe that's just something I gotta get used to. This is so stupid. Give me a second. I'm gonna see if I can find any sort of preferences to mess with this. Because it says I'm streaming. Let me close out of these. Yeah, okay, don't show this ever again. Alright, in OBS, docs, chat. Once a broadcast has been created, your live chat will appear here. Private broadcasts are not supported. Yeah, BS. I'm broadcasting right now. YouTube live control panel. Well, whatever. This is not working. Let me go over to the tab. Oh, hey, what's up, everyone? Yeah, okay. In this other tab, I can see your messages. Yo, what's up, Oak? What's up, Oxley? Let me just pop this out, and I'll just use this as the chat. Put timestamps on there. All right, cool. Less than ideal. I don't know why it's not showing up in OBS, but that's cool. It's 0x Slay, little guy. Okay, well, that's big guy to you. I'll call you 0x Slay. If you call me big guy, that's fine. Also, the 0x is hexadecimal. I don't think SL or Y are valid hex. A is, but I don't know about SL and Y. Yeah, this YouTube chat is BS. Even if I refresh it, nothing shows up. That's super lame, but whatever. I have a chat in a different window. So, we're good to go. Yeah, I appreciate it, 0x. Big guy. I don't know why I said that. Oh my god. I was just saying that because I read what you said, and now I'm stuck being called big guy, but that's okay. I'll deal with it. Yo, what's up, everyone? Probably get started in a couple minutes here, but I'm going to do the advent of code in Bash, and I haven't looked at any of it. So I pulled it up. I got it pulled up here. Actually, wait. Can I share it? Okay. There's my background. I think I can turn on Safari. Hey, that looks like it works, right? Cool. Perfect. Let me close this. Okay. So we got Advent of Code 2024. I haven't looked at any of this, so it looks like there's at least 4 puzzles to do. We'll see how many we can get through tonight, which will be a ton of fun. And yeah, we're going to do them in Bash, so we're going to see how far we can actually get. If I can even do the puzzles. I haven't looked at them, so I don't know what's in store. I just found out that Advent of Code was even a thing. I looked into, a couple days ago, I looked into like last year's puzzles, and I looked at the first couple days. I was like, oh, these seem like they'll be fun. I looked at the last, like the final days of it, and I was like, oh, this is tough. So we'll see how far I can get. This will be fun. But yeah, I think we'll give it like a couple minutes. See if people want to join. Some cheats with awk possible, probably. My goal is to do pure bash wherever possible. So what I mean by pure bash is not fork out external tools, just do it all within bash. But if that's not possible, we're going to fork out to external tools. Maybe I'll have to use sword or awk, pipe set, grep. I think it's still within the spirit of the challenge, so I'm cool doing that. And I will cut these up into YouTube videos, which will be fun. Because I think doing Advent of Code and Bash is going to be, I don't know. Hopefully it'll be something that people want to watch. I think it's funny. I still want to know why this chat, let me turn this off real quick. Why is the chat just not working in OBS? What am I doing wrong? Because it shows how many concurrent viewers, chat rate, and viewers I have, but then I just get, this thing just lies to me about the chat. But whatever, I'll debug that later. Because I got the chat down in this little window. I'll move it up so I can see the chat more. ZeroX says, you ever played King of the Hill on Try Hack Me? Nope. No idea what any of that is. But is it like puzzles or something similar to this? Because that could be kind of fun. It turns out there's like a lot of cool little like puzzle CTF style things out there. And I should probably check them out because it seems like they'd be neat. I know there are some that are like more sysadmin geared, and that would be way more my speed. Because Advent of Code looks like it gets very math heavy and like graph heavy towards the end, and that's not my expertise. But if we're talking about, it's like a truck beeping outside, that's annoying. But if we're talking about more sysadmin style challenges, then yeah, that's more my speed. Let's see. It's like a CTF against other players where you attack and defend. Oh, that's kind of neat. Yeah, that sounds interesting. No, I haven't checked it out, but you know what? Let me write that down. Text edit. That pulled me to the wrong page. Am I not sharing anything right now? Okay, cool. Let me write that down so I don't forget it. King of the Hill, try hack me. Cool. I like to take notes during these lives if people have like suggestions and cool stuff that they want to tell me about, because I'll never remember it if I don't write it down. What's the weirdest, most obscure shell you've ever used? Something like C shell, T shell, or TCSH, or even PowerShell. I don't know what the most obscure one is. Because like, if someone's Linux centric, I could say corn shell, KSH. But if you're from like a Solaris background, you'd be like, yeah, okay, I deal with this all the time. So I mean, obscure is probably relative. But I mean, yeah, I have experience with most of them. I've done very little with PowerShell, but it seems neat. For some reason, people comment on my videos. They're like, so how is this different from PowerShell? And I'm like, bro, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I haven't used it. I do Bash, and for some reason, people think that means I know every shell out there and have chosen Bash. And what that means is I know Bash. It doesn't mean that I've looked at other shells. So sorry, I don't have a good, satisfying answer for that. All right, let's see. I'll probably get started in about like 30 seconds. Let me make sure I've just blasted this out on all the socials that I'm going live. See, dumped it in Discord. Nice. I'm not the best Discord user. I feel bad. My Discord server is kind of empty, and it's my fault. I'm not really good at running a Discord server. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old for that. Rather run like an IRC server or something. Even that, I really wouldn't. I don't know. I'm not a chatting kind of guy. I like videos. I don't like text. Let's make sure I made a story on Instagram. That is up. And it's been seen by people. Cool, cool, cool. Let me just double check this link works. Cool. It's up and it says I'm live. Neat, neat, neat. Cool. Yeah, things are looking good. Discord link. Let's see. Power. Yeah, give me 1 second. PowerShell's taken away too much inspiration from Perl of all language. Yeah, I don't know. Perl's interesting. But PowerShell seemed neat. The fact that you're like passing around structured data as opposed to just arbitrary strings and stuff. Yeah, if you want the Discord link, it is my website /Discord. So I'll put it in the chat. Literally, that's my website /Discord. Should give you a link to it. I don't know if YouTube chat links it by default, but there's it with HTTPS, so hopefully that actually just clicks. Yeah, what up, Dave? Hope your day's going well. Yeah, what's up, G-Ferg? Yeah, can't complain. Things are going pretty well. Just had some pizza for dinner. It was nice. Was just chilling on the couch watching some YouTube before I jumped on here and did some coding. Probably play some StarCraft later. I mean, really can't complain. Things are great. All right. I think I blasted it out on all the socials. So I think we're good. What do you say we get started? Let me double check. YouTube over here. Stream looks good. Stream looks healthy. We got local recording going. Yeah, this is fantastic. I think we are good to go. All right, so let's get started. So we are doing Advent of Code, and we are going to do, let's see. Okay, so we're going to do Advent of Code in Bash, and we're going to start with day 1. I haven't looked at day 1 yet. As you can see, we're already a couple days into this. I have no desire to get points on the leaderboard or anything like that. I just want to do this for fun and as a learning experience and just for the heck of it, writing it in Bash. I'm going to try and do it in pure Bash, meaning I'm not going to fork external utilities when I don't need them, but I'm not going to stop myself from doing that. So if we need to pipe something to sort or set or awk, I'll do it, but I'll do it sparingly. But my goal is to do as much of it in Bash as I possibly can. So let's take a look at this. Let's pull up challenge number 1. Oh boy, there's a lot of text here. What's your day job? Sorry, I'm reading the chat now. Software development or systems architecture? I don't really talk about my day job much, but yeah, it's pretty much systems, hardware, dealing with on-prem hardware, freshly racked hardware, and doing automation around that. So a lot of sysadmin work, architecture, administration, all that stuff. Pretty much been doing that for over a decade now. Oh my God, almost 15 years. I'm old. All right, let's jump back into it. Okay. Day 1, Historian Hysteria. The chief historian is always present for the big Christmas sleigh launch, but nobody has seen him in months. Last anyone heard, he was visiting locations that are historically significant to the North Pole. A group of senior historians has asked you to accompany them as they check the places they think he was most likely to visit. Interesting, this is cool. As each location is checked, they will mark it in their list with a star. They figure the chief historian must be in one of the first 50 places they'll look. So in order to save Christmas, you need to help them get 50 stars on their list before Santa takes off on December 25th. Oh, this is cute. Collect stars by solving puzzles. 2 puzzles will be made available on each day in the Advent calendar. The second puzzle is unlocked when you complete the first. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Each puzzle grants 1 star. Good luck. Cool. You haven't even left yet, and the group of elvish senior historians has already had a problem. Their list of locations to check is currently empty. Eventually, someone decides the best place to check first would be the chief historian's office. Makes sense. Upon pouring into the office, everyone confirms that the chief historian is indeed nowhere to be found. Instead, the elves discover an assortment of notes and lists of historically significant locations. How convenient. This seems to be the planning the chief historian was doing before he left. Perhaps these notes can be used to determine which locations to search. Throughout the chief's office, the historically significant locations are listed not by name, but by unique number called the location ID. To make sure they don't miss anything, the historians split into 2 groups, each searching the office and trying to create their own complete list of location IDs. There's just one problem. By holding the 2 lists up side by side, your puzzle input, it quickly becomes clear that the lists aren't very similar. Maybe you can help the historians reconcile their list. For example, okay, and this is just example, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 5, whatever. Cool. Maybe the lists are only off by a small amount. To find out, pair up the numbers and measure how far apart they are. Pair up the smallest number in the left list with the smallest number in the right list. Okay. Then the second smallest number in the left list, okay, gotcha. Within each pair, figure out how far apart the 2 numbers are. You'll need to add up all of those distances. Oh, okay. So like take the difference of these two numbers, 3 and 4, and the distance is 1. The distance is 1. The distance is 3. The distance is 2. Okay, and then add those numbers for a final sum. Okay. For example, if you... I should have just read this. Okay, so they just go on to do what I'm doing here. Yeah, for example, if you pair up 3 from the list with a 7 from the right list, the distance is 4. If you pair up a 9 with a 3, the distance is 6. Okay, so take the difference in absolute value. Got it. In the example list above, the pairs and distances would be as follows. The smallest number in the left list is 1, and the smallest number in the right list is 3. The distance between them is 2. Okay, so this just shows for everything in that input. To find the total distance between the left list and the right list, add up the distances between all the pairs in the example, and this is 2 plus 1, blah, 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 total distance of 11. Okay, your actual left and right lists contain many locations IDs. What is the total distance between your lists? Okay, to begin, get your puzzle input. Whew. All right, let's take a break. Let's look at chat. Anything going on here? He is awk to a professional. Bro. It's not what I expected to see when I looked down at chat. Oh my god, get out of here. I love invoking awk-Tua. And you don't talk about it means you work at a large cloud provider. It's so funny because, like, what am I supposed to say to that? No, I don't. Or yes, I do. Or uh-oh, maybe you're onto something. Or that's completely wrong. I work at... So I'm just not going to engage with that. I don't feel like talking about it. That's just a privacy thing. So to begin, get your puzzle input. What is the puzzle input? Cool. Is this a safe link to click? I don't trust anything. So let me turn off my screen share and click the puzzle input in a new tab. And what do I get? Oh, yeah, this is totally safe to click. Okay. It's literally just a lot of text. Cool. So can I just curl this? Probably can curl it, right? Let me double check. Oh, I'm not even sharing my terminal. I'm dumb. Okay, cool. Let me move. I gotta move some windows out of the way. This is getting real cluttered here. So if I share my terminal, nice. Let me move it up a little bit, which means I need to go to the screen and move the terminal down. How does this look? Can people read this? Hopefully people can read that. Let's try and curl this and put it into input.txt. So if we had input, oh, I see. Puzzle input differs by user. That is cute. That's nice that they put that message there. So there's some sort of like key or whatever I'm getting with the puzzle input. Cool, cool, cool. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna turn off my screen share. I'm gonna grab my puzzle input myself. That's cute that it's different per user. I didn't expect that. Okay, so all I did was just copy and paste it. So let's go ahead and fire back up the terminal. And if we do a head on the input, you can see that I have a whole bunch of data over here. Now, before we even try to do this, let's just work with this because we know that this example, I'm going to use the example input they gave us. So we'll do a vim example input.txt. We know that with the example input.txt, we should have a distance of, what do they say? 11. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So let's do this. Also, a question for people in the chat. Can you see my terminal? Like, is it easy to read? Do I need to make the text bigger, smaller? Let me know how you feel. I feel like at a 1080p resolution, this should probably be fine. But if I'm going to change it, I should change it now. Okay. So let's do calculate distance. We'll call this script. And then we'll do user bin and bash. Okay, people are saying they can see that. See it. That's great. All right, so we're going to write a script called calculate distance. So we are going to read in the data, and the data is 2 columns. As you can see, a number and a number. We have to go through, we have to get the smallest on the left, the smallest on the right. Okay, let's just read those 2 numbers in. While read -r num1, num2, do, done, echo, num1, and num2. Cool. So now if we cat the example input into calculate distance, we get this. So we're just looping through the list and we have both the numbers there. So we are good. That increased the font size by 25 to 40%. I can increase it a little bit. I do feel like it should be like just slightly bigger. There we go. Let me look, make sure there's no overlap here. Put this up here. Yep. That's why I'm not bleeding over into anything. Okay, cool. So I'm not going to get cut off by my camera or anything. Cool, cool, cool. I'm watching on the refrigerator, by the way. I hate you. So if we do calculate distance and we take in the example input. Oh, this prompt is gnarly. How about we do this? PS1. There we go. Let's lower the prompt. Okay. So there we go. Cool. So calculate distance. So we have to get all of the first numbers and all the first and all the second numbers. So we'll do left-hand side, we'll make a new array, and right-hand side, we'll make a new array. So we'll get all the numbers on the left and all the numbers on the right. So left-hand side, wait, what is this indentation? Why am I indenting by 4 spaces? Yeah, no. Let's indent these by tabs. I'm a hard tabs, 8 spaces per tab kind of guy. That looks better. Left-hand side plus equals num1. Right-hand side plus equals num2. And now we should have an array of all of the left-hand side numbers and all of the right-hand side numbers. So let's look at the left-hand side numbers first, just to verify that we did this. Hey, there's the first list of numbers. So if we get the example input and we just grab the first field, that should line up. Yeah. 342133, 342133. That lines up. For anyone watching who's wondering what my field command is, that is literally just that's just a little awk thing that I wrote a million years ago, which is just basically doing this. Like we're just printing $1. That's all I'm basically doing there. Okay, so we have a left-hand side, we have a right-hand side. They are unsorted, but we will have to sort them. I don't have any sort of built-in sorting mechanism for arrays in Bash. There is one, but it's a loadable plugin, and my version of Bash did not come with it compiled in, so we're going to use the sort utility to knock this out, right? So we'll set, what's a good way to do this? I think we can do printf. Let me do some testing here. I think we can do this. And this will separate. So this, for an example, this will print all of the left-hand side separated by new lines. Cool. So now that we have that, we can just pipe that into sort. And there we go. We'll have the left-hand side separated by new lines. Am I missing something? Doesn't look very... Oh, I'm doing field 1. Yeah, I'm stupid. Pipe that into calculate. There we go. That's sorted from smallest to largest. Now we'd probably have to read that back into an array. I'm trying to think. There's a couple ways to do this. I think we could actually just use like read array, right? Read lines from a file into an array variable. Yeah, I think we can just use read array, a synonym for map file. Yeah, that makes sense. I think we can do this. And let me double check. Let's mess around here. I think we can do read array left sorted, and then we can read in from this, right? And if that works, we can just print left sorted. That looks good, except there's still some white space being pulled in there. I think that's a map file thing. I think you have to give it a -t, right? Yeah. Yep. I really used read array. Why not just use map file -t? There we go. There we go. Look at that. There's an array sorted from smallest to last. Yeah, read array is super cool. It's a built-in method to Bash. And if you look at the help message for it, you can see that it's just a synonym for map file. Map file is super cool. It allows you to, it's not like mapping a file. It's different than that. But it allows you to read from standard input and then read it into an indexed array variable. So we can take standard in from something and then put it into an array in Bash, which is super useful. I'm trying to think if there's a cleaner way to do this, to take an array, separate it by new lines, and then sort it. I think this is probably the cleanest way to do it. We can just do this now. Right sorted. And then we just change this to right-hand side. And then... Cool. Cool. So there are the two lists from smallest to largest, which is exactly what we want. And now we need to calculate the distance between them. So we have to loop over them. We can loop over one or the other. It really doesn't matter. We should probably just get the length of one of them. They should be the same, but we should get the length of one of them. We could probably put an assert saying, hey, there's something wrong if they're not the same. But let's assume that the input is good for now on. So we'll say len equals, we'll get the length of the, and we can just use left-hand side here. It doesn't matter if they're sorted or not. There we go. So we got the length of that. Now we can do a for I equals 0, I less than len I plus plus. Done. We can do left equals left sorted, and then we index it based on I. We can do right equals right sorted, index based on I, and now we should have the left and right variable. So if we do this, and we just print them out to the screen, there we go. We have the numbers that we need to calculate the distance between. So it's the left-hand side and the right-hand side. They're both in ascending order, which is really good. So now we have to calculate the distance. To calculate the distance, we just need to subtract one from the other. So let's do this. Let's do diff, because it's the difference. We'll do left minus right. It doesn't matter which one we do. There's a chance that this will come out as being negative, because we're calculating a we want the distance, not the difference, but we're calculating the difference. So yeah, we have some negative values here. So what we can do, there's a couple things we can do. There's two things we can do here. We can do a proper math way of doing absolute value where we can check, oh, is the number less than 0? Then we should multiply it by -1. That's a really simple way to do it. But we're in Bash, so we can just chop off the hyphen character if there is one. So let's just do this. I'm going to comment it because it might be kind of weird. Diff equals diff # hyphen. So this will remove the hyphen at the beginning of the string if there is one and do nothing if there isn't one. So now we can save this as dist because it's distance, not difference. So there we go. There's the distance of all of them. And this lines up. So if we add all these together, according to the original advent of code, this should be 11. So let's create an accumulator here, which will just start adding things up as we go. And then now that we're down here, we can say accum plus equal dist. So we're adding the distance to the accumulator, which we start at 0. And then we will just echo accum here. And we'll say something like, I don't know, final total equals this. And if all this is right, this should just work. So this should give us, let me check the Safari page real quick. So if we go over here, when we add up all these numbers, we should get the total distance of 11. Cool. So let's go ahead and run this and see if we get 11. And we do. Hey, look, so our code works. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the example input. We used example input. Now I'm going to use the real input. Let's move input to, what should we call it? Part 01 real input.text. Let's cat part 01 real input.text and pipe it into calculate distance. And if this works, I should get a really, really big number. Let me catch up on chat real quick. How do you navigate efficiently without line numbers in VI? I just don't use line numbers. I just go up and down pages. I search for things. I just hold J and K until I get to where I want. Yeah, I don't think too much about it. Wait, is this actually happening? Will the VOD be available later? Yes, this live stream will be available. It'll be unlisted, but I'll put in I'm going to make a playlist of all my live streams, so it'll be there. But I am locally recording it. Yeah, you can see he's recording it. Yes, I'm locally recording this, and I will be uploading a video per challenge. So once this is done, I'll go through and edit in the next couple days. I'll do like Advent of Code day 1 in Bash. You know, I'll do one for each challenge. Yeah, so don't worry. This will be available if you're not catching it here. It's totally fine. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. Let's run this. And hey, we get a really, really large number. So now let's copy this. And if I submit my answer, is this something I can screen share? I assume, right? Because right here, it just asks me to screen share this. And let's hit submit. That's right. You are 1 gold star closer to finding the chief historian. Hey, look at that. We nailed it. How awesome is that? Let's continue to part 2. Oh, that's beautiful. Cool. This is super fun. This is such a neat little challenge. Your analysis only confirmed what everyone feared. The two lists of location IDs are indeed very different. Or are they? The historians can't agree on which group made the mistakes or how to read most of the chief's handwriting. But in the commotion, you notice an interesting detail. A lot of location IDs appear in both lists. Maybe the other numbers aren't location IDs at all, but rather misinterpreted handwriting. That's interesting. This time, you'll need to figure out exactly how often each number from the left list appears in the right list. Calculate a total similarity score by adding up each number in the left list after multiplying it by the number of times that the number appears in the right list. This is so interesting. I like the way they make you get answers in this, because the answers end up having to sum a lot of data and then get like an arbitrarily large number. And it's kind of a good way to prove that, like, hey, you got it. Because otherwise you'd be way off in the weeds if your answer was wrong. That's a cool way of doing it. So I don't quite exactly understand, but let me look at an example, see if I can glean it from this. Here are the same example lists again. Cool. Here's the process of finding the similarity score. The first number in the left list is 3. It appears in the right list 3 times. Oh, okay, I see. So the similarity score increases by 3 times 3 equals 9. So we'll need another accumulator. Okay. The second number in the left list is 4. It appears in the right list once. So the similarity score increases by 1. Oh, okay. Third number is 2. Okay, so you multiply it by the number of times it appears in... You go through left-hand side, multiply it by the number of time it appears in right-hand side, and then you add those all up to some sort of total accumulator thing. Cool. Okay, so the puzzle input is exactly the same. This is awesome. You guys ready for this? Let's figure out how to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take calculate distance, and we're going to CP it to calculate similarity score. So now we have a second script. Let's go ahead and vim that. We read in the left-hand side. We read in the right-hand side. We sort them, which I don't think we do here. We don't need to sort them. Yeah, because the sorting won't actually matter. So let's not sort them. And so what we need to do here is we need to make a not a set. It's sort of like a dictionary. We're going to make an associative array for the right-hand side data. So the right-hand side data, I realize I'm not sharing my terminal. Thank you. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, appreciate it. I will share my terminal, don't worry. So we're going to make an associative array to store these right-hand sides. And browser's off. Okay, sorry. I'll go back and show you guys what I did. In fact, I'll just redo it. I'll redo it. Let me CP calculate distance over to calculate similarity score. And there we go. I've wiped out any changes I've done where I wasn't sharing. So now we will do this from the top. Calculate similarity score. Hey, here we go. Let's see. So right here, we sort the data, but we don't actually need to sort it for this second problem. So I'm going to get rid of the sorting logic. And then I'm going to go over here and let's not even loop. We have an accumulator here, plus equal something, but let's not even worry about it. The important information is going to go somewhere in here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to loop through the right-hand side of the data, and we're going to create an associative array. So I'll show you guys what this will look like, not in bash terms. It's going to be like JSON. So it's not valid bash, but I'm just explaining the idea here. So if the right-hand side had the number 4, and let's say that number showed up 7 times, the data would look like this. If it had the number 0 and that showed up 2 times, it would look like this, and so on. So we're going to create this data structure in bash where I go through the right-hand side and count how many times each number has showed up. So in order to do this, we need to loop the right-hand side. First thing we need to do is create an associative array. There we go. And we'll call this right-hand side count, because that's for counting how many times things show up on the right-hand side. Now we're going to loop every value in the right-hand side. So for value in right-hand side, we're going to use this notation to loop through every item of the array. And then what we're going to do is we're going to increment the number that is in the associative array. If you've ever used Python, you might have heard of something called like default dict, which is the default dictionary where you can set a dictionary to automatically have a default value when you reference a key for the first time, which allows you to kind of really simply do these like frequency counts. You kind of get that in bash for free. The value kind of acts like 0 if it's unset. So I can do RHS count value plus plus. And in order for this to work as math, I need to put it in open and close double parentheses. So this will index the array by the value and then increment it. So at the end of this, we will have a count of how many times these things show up. So now we can loop the left side. So instead of looping the right side, we're going to loop the left side. And we'll keep our accumulator value of 0. This is going to add up to be the final result. For value in left-hand side, what we need to do is find out how many times it shows up in the RHS count. So we'll call it frequency. Frequency equals RHS. We'll index it by value. And there we go. So now we have the value itself, the frequency. So we can say result equals value times frequency, and then accumulator plus equal result. There we go. Let's see. I'm going to look at the comments real quick. Sorry, the chat, not comments. Let's see. It's been around since 2015. Plenty of puzzles to go through. Yeah, man, I'm going to have unlimited content. We got the unlimited content glitch here. But no, these are fun. I love doing little puzzles like this. Can't you do this in the previous while? So you are doing all in one loop. No. Oh, wait, sorry. The previous while loop. This is where we are reading the numbers in for the first time. So no, we'd have to read in the right-hand side first to be able to figure out how many times it shows up. I'm trying to think. Yeah, because all this is doing is just reading them into two separate spots in an array. So this is just the first iteration, and then we loop over it. I don't think so. Maybe there is a way, but yeah, I don't think so. But let's see. Okay, so I'll just comment this. Read the data into two arrays. Get frequency count for right-hand side values. Loop left-hand side values and calculate totals, and then final score equals the accumulator. So let's go ahead and run this and see if it works. Let's not CP over. That would be really bad. Cat example input and pipe it to calculate similarity score. So according to the browser, I will pull this back up, and I won't forget that I pulled it up. We can see for the examples here, we should have a total number of 31. So if we run this, we should see 31. 76. That doesn't look right, does it? That's awesome. Cool. You know what? I'm actually glad something broke, because now we can debug it, and that's kind of a fun thing to do. So let's go ahead and echo value equals value. Let's do it down here. Value equals value. Frequency equals frequency. And let's see if there's any obvious outliers for this. So value equals 3, frequency equals 3, value equals 4, frequency equals 9. Okay. I don't think that it showed up 9 times, did it? Something seems right. Or something seems wrong here. For value in RHS on the right-hand side, we increment how many times we've kept track of it. What am I doing wrong here? For the first value of 3, it should be 9, and we're getting a frequency of 3. Okay, so result is being set to the exact frequency, which seems wrong. And these frequency values seem wrong too, don't they? So I'm doing something incorrect here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide the chat right now because I don't actually want to cheat on this. I don't want people to give me any sort of clues. I want to figure this out, what's going on here. Because I must be doing something really, really silly here. So let's go through this. Let's go through the example input. So for the number 3 shows up. That is, my terminal just grew sideways when I double click that. I didn't even know Mac did that. That is horrendous what just happened there. Oh, I'm sorry for anyone who had to see that. It just slid across my screen. That was horrendous. All right, so for value 3, it is here 1, 2, 3 times. It should have a frequency of 3, which it does. And the result should be 3 times 3, which is 9. Yeah, see, that's wrong. Why is that wrong? Result equals value times frequency. Oh, I'm printing it wrong. Okay. It's just me. I'm debugging it incorrectly. So okay, that's nicer that that's the case. That was just a stupid mistake on my part. Okay, so the frequency is 9. Okay. Value 4 is a frequency of 9. Okay, that is clearly incorrect. Value 4 does not show up 9 times. In fact, I think value 4 shows up 0 times. So it should have a frequency of 0, not 9. Where do we get 9 from? I'm curious. What we can do is we can print this variable, RHS count, and we can see what's going on here. For key in RHS count. I have to put an exclamation mark here so it actually knows we want the keys. Do echo key equal value. Done. Put a $sign here, and then we actually have to get the value out of it. So value equals RHS count key. And let's just exit here. So what this will do is just print out what my frequency count looks like. 9 shows up once, 5 shows up once, 4 shows up once, and 3 shows up 3 times. Is that right? No, 4 should show up 0 times. 2 should show up 0 times. What am I doing wrong here? I'm doing something wrong. The only thing I can think of is if it doesn't show up. Let's see. I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, we're counting how many times the things show up there. Okay, let's take a look. 9 shows up once. Okay, 9 is here once. 5 shows up once. 5 is here once. 4 shows up once. Okay, 4 is here. I'm just blind. 3 shows up 3 times. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah. Like a hair in my mouth? God, it's just the worst day. All right, cool. So let's go back to the similarity score. And these frequencies look right. But for some reason, when we try to index 4, we get 9 as opposed to 1. Where are we getting 9 from? So let's go ahead and trash this because we know that works. This shouldn't change, but let's just go ahead and put that there. And let's run it. 3. Value of 3, frequency of 3, result is 9. Value of 4 has a frequency of 9. See, that's just incorrect. Why does that have that? Yeah, see, look at that. And somehow getting a frequency of 9. Where am I getting 9 from? Am I doing this like backwards somehow? Because wasn't there nothing in there? Am I crazy, or like there was nothing in RHS count that had 9 in it, right? Yeah, okay, 9 shows up once, but the number 4 shows up once. What's going on here? The only thing I could think of is nothing. When I figure this out, I know for a fact it's going to be stupid. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but I just know when I figure out what's going on here, it's going to be really dumb, and I'm going to be like, oh, I'm an idiot. I can see the future, and that's what's going to happen. Let's go ahead and just comment that out. Yeah, 4 shows up 9 times. 2 shows up 5 times. 1 shows up 3 times. 3 shows up 3 times. Where are these numbers even coming from? The only thing I can think of is if I'm like indexing something that's not there, but it wouldn't give me random values. It should just give me like normal values. What am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong here. All right, let's go through it again. Left-hand side, right-hand side, read the 2 numbers in, save the left-hand side to num1. Yep. Okay, so we have a right-hand side, we have a left-hand side. Now we loop over every number in the right-hand side, and we set RHS count. Oh my God. Ready? Remember how I said it's going to be something stupid? RHS count is the thing that has our frequency in it. RHS count. RHS count. I was indexing the original array, which would have some numbers sometimes. All right. So now let's go ahead and run this. And if this works how I think it should, then we should print the final score of 31, which the original input says. So let's go ahead and get 31. I told you it would be something stupid. I've done this so many times. Oh, look at this. This is interesting. The frequency is actually empty, but luckily it interpreted empty as like no number. So that worked out really nice that it happened to do that. We could have set it to like 0 in the case that it was empty, but yeah, this seemed to just work out just fine. All right, let me look at chat. I haven't looked at chat in a second. Ooh. Have you used awk script? One of my CS classes required to use it to read a text file, and it was never touched again. Awk is awesome, dude. I love awk so much. Oh my God, it's up there with bash. It's a super cool language to use. Let's see. Good job, big guy. Yo, appreciate it. What's a good loud keyboard? I don't know. I hate loud keyboards. I mean, mine's kind of loud and you can kind of hear on the mic, but yeah, definitely not my thing. So we should be able to take the real input and pipe it to calculate similarity score. It's going to print so much. Let me go ahead and just remove the debug printing. And we'll just get the accumulator value. Oh, wrong input. Cool. There we go. We got the final score here. So let's go ahead and pull back open the browser. And here we go. So let's go ahead and paste this and hit submit. Let's see what happens. That's the right answer. You are 1 gold star closer to finding the chief historian. You have completed day 1. You can share this victory or return to your advent calendar. Nailed it. Day 1 done. Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations myself. We nailed day 1, and all we had to do was fork out to sort. I think that might have been the only external command we needed, and that was in calculate distance. I believe we had to fork out to sort. Yeah, other than that, everything else was done in pure bash. So yeah, we did it. Oh man, what's going on, everyone? Let's see. Do a kickflip. It's turkey, dude. I can't escape you, man. I owe you a kickflip so bad. It's brutal. Oh, man. What's up, man? Yo, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Yo, congrats. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah, for anyone curious, I am going to put these. I think they're in a directory. Yeah, they're in 2024 Advent of Code. I will make a GitHub repo for this. I'll do it eventually, but for now, they're just in a directory on my local machine. But I'll make this into a GitHub repo, so if anyone's curious, they can pull down my solution in before bash sorting algorithm. So here's the thing. Bash has this concept of loadable plugins. You can run enable to see all the loadable plugins. I think there might actually be some enable. There's some usage for enable. Enable-A. Here we go. So there's a bunch of other functions that exist that may not be accessible right now. And one of them, I don't have it. My version of bash was not compiled with it, but it's called asort. So asort can actually sort an array for you. So if I had a version of bash compiled with that, I could do it in pure bash. Otherwise, you just have to recompile and do all this stuff. So yeah. Otherwise, I have to implement quicksort in bash, and I don't feel like doing that. It could though. It wouldn't be the end of the world. It's actually pretty easy. Pretty easy algorithm. Browser on top. Thank you. I'm apparently dumb. I keep doing this. This is so dumb. Here we go. Yeah, for anyone curious, enable-a, and you can see all of them, whether they're enabled or not. You can actually just like disable built-ins. I don't know if you guys know that. There is no disable built-in, of course. I think it's just enable. Yeah, enable -n, like, I don't know, CD. And now I can't CD. Like, you can't CD places until you enable CD again. So that's kind of fun. If you were going to mess with someone, here's a pretty good way to do it if you have bash. It's pretty stupid. All right, let's see. No, I'm just joking. Dude, you're good, man. I honestly, I think it's hilarious. I love it. Just finished homework for tonight. Got a book on C++ and a book called Code I'm reading. Yo, that's awesome. Heck yeah. I know so little C++, it's embarrassing. I know C, but I barely know C++. Yeah, definitely a fun prank. Oh my God. I feel like if you disabled some built-ins, people wouldn't know what to do. All right. Let's go and look at, oh, I can share Blue Sky, Twitter, Mastodon. Oh, that's cute. I know the browser's not open. Don't worry. Okay, so let's pull it up here, and hey, I think it's time for day number 2. What do you all think? All right, so Red Nose reports. Fortunately, the first location the historians want to search isn't a long walk from the chief historian's office. While the Red Nose Reindeer nuclear fusion fission plant appears to contain no sign of the chief historian, the engineers there run up to you as soon as they see you. Apparently, they still talk about the time Rudolph was saved through molecular synthesis from a single electron. This is wild. I didn't realize Advent of Code was actually insane, but I respect it. They're quick to add that. Since you're already here, they really appreciate your help analyzing some unusual data from the Red Nose reactor. You turn to check if the historians are waiting for you, but they seem to have already divided into groups that are currently searching every corner of the facility. You offer to help with the unusual data. Of course, that's my strong suit. The unusual data, your puzzle input, consists of many reports, one report per line. Each report is a list of numbers called levels that are separated by spaces. For example, this. Okay. This example data contains 6 reports, each containing 5 levels. Okay, so each report is a line and each level is separated by spaces. Okay, cool. The engineers are trying to figure out which reports are safe. The Red Nose reactor safety system can only tolerate levels that are either gradually increasing or gradually decreasing. So a report only counts as safe if both of the following are true. The levels are either all increasing or all decreasing. Any 2 adjacent levels differ by at least 1 and at most 3. Okay, so they have to go up, they have to go down, but they can go up by 1, they can go up by 2, they can go up by 3, or they can go down by 1, down by 2, down by 3, and if they go up, then the rest of them have to go up, and if they go down, the rest of them have to go down. Okay, cool. Let's see, this makes sense so far. In the example above, the reports can be found safe or unsafe by checking these rules. 7, 6, 4, 2, 1, that looks safe. 1, 2, 7, that's too big of a jump. 2 and 7 is an increase of 5, yeah. 9, 7, 6, 2, 1 looks unsafe because 6 to 2 is a big jump, yes. 1, 3, 2, nope, you went up then down, that's unsafe. 8, 6, 4, 4, nope, that's repeating, so that is not safe. 1, 3, 6, 7, 9 looks safe because, okay, cool. So my intuition is right when I look at these numbers. Awesome. And it is so difficult to take an intuition and turn that into code. That's why I love these puzzles. Like, intuitively, a human can look at this and be like, oh yeah, but to actually code it takes time. But once you have it coded, then it works perfectly. Let's see. So in this example, 2 reports are safe. Analyze the unusual data from the engineers. How many reports are safe? To begin, get your puzzle input. Cool. I'm going to get my puzzle input. It's private for me, so I'm going to go ahead and unshare everything while I do this. I don't actually know if it's like private, but I'll just get the puzzle input and store it so I at least have it. Maker day02. I'm just making a separate directory. I know you guys can't see me. I'll call it real input.txt. That's a lot to paste in. Cool. And then we'll do example input, and I will go ahead and I will share my terminal again. Cool. So for the example input, we will do this. All right, cool. And what was the final thing? Oh, how many are safe? You just have to report how many are safe. Cool, cool, cool. So let's see. I could use another Pepsi. Pepsi, please make a 0 sugar vanilla Pepsi. I would love you forever. Or just any sort of Pepsi vanilla. Bring it back. Come on. Come on. All right, let's go. So we are going to be determining safe or unsafe. We'll call it calculate safe reports. User bin env bash. Cool. And then we'll calculate how many reports are safe. So we have to loop over the example input data, and we have to break them into any sort of level. Is it always... It's not always 5 levels, is it? I don't think so. I'm going to assume an arbitrarily large number of levels and an arbitrarily large number of reports. I don't think it's anything persistent. But that's okay. So what we can do is we can read the data, while read -r line do done echo line. So this command, this won't do anything special. It'll just read the data line by line, and that's it. So if we read it in from the example input, we will just get the same output back that we put in the input. That makes sense. We haven't done any work here yet. So what we can do is, instead of read -r line, we could call this levels, and we could put an A here. The A reads it to an array. So now we'll have an array called levels. So if we were to do this, you know, the array notation to separate them all by whatever the inner field separator is, internal field separator, whatever it's called, I don't know, IFS. Cool, that works. So what we have here is levels is an array of all possible values. We can actually just define a function up here called process report, because this will process just one individual report, and a report has a series of levels. And what we can do is we can say local levels equals a new array of whatever the arguments are. And then down here, instead of doing this, we can actually pass it to process report. Okay, so for anyone confused as to what's going on, basically what I'm doing here is I'm reading the file line by line, and for each line, I'm reading every single number as a big array. Then I'm breaking that array immediately as arguments. So think about this like a function. For every line, we call this function, and the arguments are every single level in that report. So the arguments get passed here. So for an example, I could, you know, print, just, this is just an example. We could just do levels 0, which will, of course, you know, be the first index level. And if we were to do this, we would just get the first line. So 719181. Okay, which is just the first numbers as they appear here. That's all I'm doing. So now we have a function that can handle one or the other, because the beauty of this puzzle is we don't need to look at the things that came before it. We can process each line as its own separate data set. They're not affected by what came, you know, above or, you know, before or after it, which is super nice. Makes it really easy. So now what we have to do is we have to figure out if the number is ascending or descending, and then make sure that everything fits that. So I think we're going to break this into two. I'm trying to think. I think we should break this into 2 steps. We should determine if it's ascending or descending based on the first thing we see, and then we should assert that everything is the same. So if the first 2 numbers are ascending, every other number has to be ascending. If the first 2 numbers are descending, every subsequent number has to be descending. On top of that, we should also just check every single number with the number before it to make sure that its distance is 1, 2, or 3. So we should do 2 checks to mark it as safe or unsafe. And I'll do this in an iterative fashion, so we'll kind of just slowly approach the correct way of doing it. So in order for this data to, I'm going to assume the data is valid. And what I mean by that is there's going to be at least 2 levels in a report. Again, I don't remember if they said that there will always be 5, but I'm going to assume there's at least 2, because you would need 2 to determine if it's going up or down or to calculate the first distance. So that's what we're going to do here. And so the beauty of that is we can just say, like, you know, num1 equals levels 0. Num2 equals levels 1, and then we can check if num1 is greater than num2, then we'll do local ascending, and we'll make this a Boolean. So if num1 is greater than num2, sorry, we'll do if num1 is less than num2, then ascending is true. Elif num1 is greater than num2. I don't remember what I said. I may have said it backwards, but my logic I'm writing is correct. So let's look at what we have so far. If the first number is less than the second number, then we know that we should be ascending. If the first number is greater than the second number, then we know that we are descending. Cool. And then finally, if those numbers are the same, then we know something is wrong. So we will return 1. And we return 1. Let's document this up here. Returns 0 if safe, 1 if unsafe. That's how we will signal if what we're returning is safe or unsafe. Because if these numbers are the same, it's not ascending or descending, it's unsafe according to these rules. Oh my gosh, there's a lot there. Let me take just a little 30-second break. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing in the chat? Are people still here? Are people still hanging on? For anyone curious, I am locally recording this. I'll leave the VOD up on my channel, so if people want to watch it, they can. Otherwise, I'm going to cut these up into individual days and make individual YouTube videos for each one. But yeah, cool stuff over here. That's not what I wanted. Let me turn this off real quick. Let me scroll over here. Okay, chat. I'm just making sure. Stream looks good. Stream looks healthy. YouTube says excellent connection. Beautiful. Love it. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, chat was a little quiet, and when chat gets a little quiet, I get a little worried that things aren't working. But I also understand that chat can just go quiet. That's totally cool, especially when I'm in like deep focus mode, so I understand it. But I've had chats crash on me, so sometimes I like to make sure it's not crashing. So cool. Awesome. All right, let's jump back into it. Cool. So check first two numbers to determine direction. We assume each report will have at least 2 levels. Cool. Enjoying the session? Yo, appreciate it. That's awesome. I'm glad. It's fun coding. Oh my God, my watch is beeping at me that it has an update, dude. The future sucks. Okay, so now we know that we have a direction. Now we need to go through and calculate the distance between the numbers to make sure that's all valid. So we can do this in 2 passes, and there's probably a faster way to do this. Let me think about how I want to approach this. Let me think. Okay, I know how I want to approach this. We'll get the length of the array, and then we'll start the count with I. We'll start the count at 1 instead of 0, because we're going to look at this item and the item before it in the list. This is how I plan on doing this. I less than len, I plus plus. Do, done. Okay, so what do we have here? We're going to look at right-hand side number and left-hand side number. So current and previous in a way. So we'll do prev equals levels I minus 1. Local cur for current equals levels I. So now we have the 2 numbers. So now we need to calculate the distance between them. So in order to calculate the distance between 2 numbers, we need to take the difference and then do the absolute value. So difference between the 2 numbers, doesn't matter which one we do. Prev minus cur. And then we need to take the absolute value. Because we are in bash, we can just chop off the hyphen, the minus sign, if it's there. And if it's not there, this will do nothing. So this syntax says from the left-hand side, chop off the first hyphen if we see it. If there's no hyphen, nothing will happen. So now we have the distance between the 2. If distance is less than 1 or distance is greater than 3, then return 1. So we check to make sure, check distance bounds. So we're basically saying if the distance between these 2 numbers is less than 1 or greater than 3, then we are unsafe. We are returning 1 because we're unsafe. There's no reason to check anything else. The next thing we can check is the direction. So we can do if ascending. The nice thing is so here's a little trick I do. Because I'm in control of this ascending variable, meaning I, the programmer, will only ever set it to true or only ever set it to false, I can use it right here without quotes because I know what I've set it to be, and it will execute like a command, and the command will be either true or false. So if true, if we are ascending, then we need to ensure that if we are, let me think about this. If we are ascending and prev is not less than current. Okay. And prev is, if we're ascending and previous is greater than current, then unsafe. We should be ascending, not descending. Elif, not ascending, and prev is less than cur. We should be descending, not ascending. Return 1. Fee. Oh boy. Okay. So now we can close this loop, and I think we're done. We can just return 0 here because it was safe. I think there's still numbers that we have to calculate here, but I'll go through that in a second. Let me look at the chat. I didn't quite understand dist equals diff. Okay, I'll show you. So right here, we're calculating diff. Diff is short for difference, and this is just math. This is just basic math. You know, when you take the difference between two numbers, all you do is subtract one from the other. Well, once we have the difference, remember the difference could be negative or it could be positive. We don't care if it's negative or positive. We just want to know the distance between the two numbers. So the way you calculate distance between two numbers is you literally do the absolute value of the difference. So we can do absolute value in Bash. We can. There's a way we can do this. We could say if diff is less than 0, then diff times equal -1 phi. We can do this. This would work. There's nothing invalid about this syntax. If the difference is less than 0, then we multiply the difference by -1, or we negate the sign and we're left with a positive number. But because we're in Bash, we can treat numbers like strings. So we're literally treating the difference like a string, and # means start from the left-hand side of the string and remove any of the characters that we see in this pattern, and hyphen means just hyphen. So all that means is if a string is like, 57, we start from the left-hand side and we remove the first hyphen, and now we're left with 57 without that minus in front of it. So we effectively turn a negative number into a positive number, and we leave positive numbers unchanged. That's all that's happening there. It's actually string manipulation on something that we've treated like a number previously. So that's how that works. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to process this report, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to echo -n levels. I'm going to just print this out for my own sake. We're going to print out the level that we just processed, and then we're going to print out if it was safe or unsafe. So if process report, then echo safe, else echo unsafe phi. Okay. Okay, cool. So if we look at the original browser over here, we can see that for the input, we should have safe, 4 unsafes, and then safe again. And if we look at what we got with the terminal, we have safe, 4 unsafes, then safe again. It works. That's beautiful. We're calculating this. It's working perfectly. All right, let me look at the chat. I think the ifs can be replaced by chain commands like ascending and prev greater than cur and return 1. Yeah, you can. You could do that. I just prefer to stay away from that kind of notation, because it's more what's the word I'm looking for? It's harder to read, honestly. I still want my bash scripts to flow like a program, so I just find this easier to read. If we're ascending and the previous is not greater than the current, then we do this branch of code. Whereas if we just have and return 1, it almost looks like it's part of the conditional. So what's up, Eric? How are the puzzles going? Hey, they're going well. We're on day 2, part 1, and we are cranking through it. We just made huge progress. How many reports are safe? Oh, so they just want to know the number of reports that are safe. Okay, well then we can do this really easily. If the report, then we are safe. So let's just do, we'll do num safe equals 0. Echo, no. Num safe plus plus. There we go. Echo num safe reports. Cool. So now if I rerun this, oh, I printed a whole bunch of stuff. Hold on. Where did I echo that stuff? There we go. 2 safe reports. That's good. That's what we wanted. So now, instead of using the example input, let's go ahead and use the real input. 516 safe reports. So let's pop back open the browser, head over here, and let's submit our answer, 516, and let's hit submit. That's the right answer. You are 1 gold star closer to finding the chief historian. Dude, this is fun, man. Advent of Code is like super fun. Shout out to the creator here. Like this is sick. Oh man. I'm going to upload these videos individually to YouTube, and I'll have like monetization on them. But let me tell you, I'll just be totally honest with you guys. I make nothing off ads on YouTube. It's seriously negligible. But regardless, I'm totally gonna donate to this like Advent of Code thing because this is just sick. Like I'm only 2 puzzles in, not even finished the second puzzle. I'm having fun. Like this is super cool. We need more people doing things like this. So I'm glad they have sponsors. This is sick. Thank you for your content. Good luck in your growth. Yo, appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so let's go on to part 2 here. What do we have to do with part 2? Part 2. The engineers are surprised by the low number of safe reports until they realize they forgot to tell you about the problem dampener. Oh boy, okay. What's the problem dampener? The problem dampener is a reactor-mounted module that lets the reactor's safety systems tolerate a single bad level in what would otherwise be a safe report. Oh, so we're going to get a larger number now. It's like the bad level never happened. Now, the same rules apply as before, except if removing a single level from an unsafe report would make it safe. Oh boy, okay. Wow, my brain just started churning so fast. It was like, this is going to be really hard. Wait, no, it's going to be easy. Let me read the whole problem before I start doing this. The same rules apply as before, except if removing a single level from an unsafe report would make it safe, the report instead counts as safe. This is tricky. More of the above examples reports are now safe. Okay, unsafe regardless of which levels removed. Unsafe regardless of safe by removing the second level 3. Safe by removing the third level 4. Oh boy, okay. Thanks to the problem dampener, 4 reports are actually safe. Oh boy, okay. This is a lot trickier than I thought it would be. But we're going to have some fun. Let's do this. I'm super enjoying this. This is a super fun thing. Hooray, problem dampener. Yeah, exactly. Problem creator. Calculate safe reports. Let's see. Let's CP this to calculate safe reports dampener. Did I spell it dampener? Did I spell that right? Dampener. Yep, I'm right. If I were to really go bash style with this, what I would actually do is take like a dash dampener argument and then change the logic based on that. But I'm just going to make my life easier because we're in the iterating mode. We're going to go through and just make a whole separate problem for this. Let's see. Okay. So if removing a single level made it safe, I mean, I can already think of really cheesy solutions to this. Like, I can think of really, really cheesy solutions to this. Like, just go through the array of levels, remove one, create a new array, and then test that array. Like, right? Like, that seems too easy. Is computational time something I need to worry about? Let me think about this. Calculate safe report dampener. Okay. Because what I could do is I could pass in an index here as the first argument, a level, and then I could call myself recursively having removed an item from an array. Let me think about this. All right, I'm going to pull up the chat, but please don't give me any hints. Let's see. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Have you seen any of the past year's puzzles? I've only looked through a couple of them, and they looked really neat. That's what convinced me to do this. I looked at some of the puzzles for the final days, and I was like, okay, this is above my pay grade, guys. Like, these are math dependency graph problems that, like, ooh, boy. But, man, the solutions are clever. You have some of the smartest engineers working on this. It's an incredible thing to see. That's how I did it in Python. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do this. Only testing correct ones. Yeah, exactly. Oh, don't say sorry. It's okay. Please don't apologize. It's totally fine. I don't mind, like, how do I put this? I don't want someone to come in here and just dump code that's the answer. But if people are just like throwing out fun ideas, like we're brainstorming, like we're sitting next to each other programming, hey, I'm all for that. That's totally cool. Like I don't mind, was like backseat gaming. That's fine. But if someone's just throwing me the solution, I don't want that. But the nice thing is these puzzles don't seem like they have like a very it's not coming up with the algorithm that's hard. It's actually getting the code. I don't even know what the hard part is. It's just they're puzzles. They're brain twisters. Pretty answer. Sorry. Yo, get out of here. Yeah. So I think if something is wrong, then I should go through. This is just like if anything is unsafe, then I should go through and try again. So what I could do here is if we're here, then the puzzle was unsafe. So I could go through and remove an index from the array and try all of them until I hit a safe one, if I hit a safe one. Let's see. So I don't remember how to do this in Bash, so we're going to learn some Bash right here on the command line. Let's make an array. Foo, bar, baz, bat. Okay, so we have an array with 4 elements in it. And if we print them, they look like this. Cool. Very straightforward. I don't remember how you subdivide an array. I think you can do this like 0, 1 or something. Nope. That's not it. Nope. That's not it. Maybe I shouldn't just be making up syntax. It's like this. Oh, yeah. So the first number tells it where to start. And I think this number tells it how many to go. Yeah. Okay. So the first number tells it where to start in the array, and the next one tells it where to go. So we can chop up an array and construct a new one. So let's think about how to do this. With the dampener. Puzzle was unsafe. So for I equals 0, I less than, we need the length of the level. I less than len, I plus plus, do, done. So now we're just going to loop over every element. So we're going to construct a new array. And in this new array, we're going to put everything except one item. We're going to filter out one item from every single one. So how are we going to do this? I think we can do this. We can take the original levels, start at 0, and go to I. Wait, hold on. Let me double check this syntax. If I set I equal to 2, can I just use I here like it's 2? I can. Okay, I don't need a $sign. That's great. I love Bash. Levels 0 to I, and levels I to nothing, and then it has to be I plus 1, right? No. 0 to I to... I think it is I plus 1. Yeah, so let's do J equals I plus 1. And we'll just use J here. Close this quote. And we should have a new array. Let me just echo new array just to make sure this makes sense. And then we'll echo levels here. So for each level that failed, we're going to go through and print something. Let me just run this. 2 safe reports. Oh, because I didn't run the right script. Dampener. Called one report and one reports. That's annoying. Syntax error. Cool. So let's figure out where we got a syntax error from. Oh, yeah, look at this. I'm not indexing this properly like an array. Still broken, line 55. I equals 0, I less than len. Oh, yeah, len. In order to calculate the length of an array, you need a pound sign. You need the pound sign. I mean, this will calculate the length of a string too. You put a pound sign in front of it and you'll get the length of a string. If you use this array notation with the @ sign, you'll get the length of the array. So, okay, so for this one, 12789, this was unsafe. We're going to test 2789. We're going to test 1789, 1289, 1279, and 1278. Hey, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's it. That's it. We're basically done here. Cool. So now that this one was unsafe, we're going to go through and test all of these. Process, report, new array. And then if this was successful, this code's a little bit, I don't like how indented it is, but hey, here we are. If this was successful, then we can do num safe ++. Otherwise, and then break. We have to break out of this loop. We are done with this loop. We want to move on to the next one. But if it's not successful, then we won't ever increment. We'll just get to the end of it. So if this works, we should have 4 reports being safe as opposed to 2 reports. That looks really good. So if we run the original script, we can see that there's 2 safe reports. If we run it with the dampener, we can see that it's 4 safe reports. Awesome. We're done. That's it. This should work. Neato. So now, instead of the example input, we just give it the real input, and this should generate a very large number. 561. Is that right? I don't know. Whatever. Let's go over here, and let's put that in. 561. And let's submit. That's the right answer. You are 1 gold star closer to finding the chief historian. You have completed day 2. You can share this victory or return to your advent calendar. Bam! Look at that, everyone. We are 2 days into it. And I think there are, what? Are there 4 days up and the 5th day's coming up soon? Amazing. We have been streaming for almost an hour and a half, so it looks like these puzzles take about 35, 40 minutes. That's a great time for them to take. That is not bad. I can knock out 2 a day. So yeah, I think I'm going to call it here for the stream. My throat's getting a little dry and my butt's getting a little sore sitting here all day. I've been sitting for work too, so that sucks. But yeah, I think we're going to call it here. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully this is fun. This VOD will become unlisted, but I will put it in a playlist on my channel. I'm locally recording this video, so I will cut these up and make videos of actually solving the solutions. But yeah, how fun was this? And actually, I think, let me double check the terminal real quick. I think we didn't use any external tools in either of these tools, right? Yeah, I don't think we forked out to anything. I think we did it all in pure bash. So that is pretty awesome. That's a really cool, victory right there. So that's awesome. But yeah, so thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is a lot of fun. Let's see the chat. You might enjoy checking the first line of the Advent of Code About page. About. Hi, I'm Eric. What? Are you serious? Bro, are you actually serious? Wait, is this real? There's no way, dude. Are you... Yo! What? This is wild! What? Dude, this is sick. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, hold on. I'm processing this. You waited until the end to throw that in there. You waited. That's amazing. And you've been chilling here for a while. Oh my god. This is hilarious. Oh, you just got here. Okay. Fair enough. Yo, I appreciate it. I'm super impressed by how well you can talk and code. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been working remotely for over a decade now, and you kind of have to get good at it. And only in the last couple of years have I started making content, especially this YouTube has been less than a year, and I do a lot of stuff on Instagram too. And you kind of just you have to get good at it working remotely, and then making content kind of forced me to do it. And let me tell you, man, slowing it down and talking through problems actually helps me code a ton. Otherwise, I can get stuck in these like where I'm like, I gotta figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing. I get too frustrated. I get too lost in the weeds. I can't see the forest of the trees. When you have to talk about it, you can't do that. So like, it's kind of cool. It started as a way to like help people follow my train of logic, and now it's like feeding itself. And I'm like, wait, I actually need to talk these things out in order to do it. Oh man, dude, this is wild. Welcome to the stream, dude. I can't believe it. So you make Advent of Code. So from what I could gather from the calendar, you've been doing this. Sorry, I don't know how to see old ones. I think it's events, right? Have you been doing this since 2015? Because that is wild. I have to say, this is super cool. I don't know if you were here earlier when I was saying like this is my first time doing it, and I have to say this is the 10th year. That's wild, man. This is awesome. This is so cool. Yeah, this is my first time ever doing it, and it's super fun. Like I love how approachable the puzzles are. I love that there's example input and then there's real input. And earlier I tried to double you get the input and got a little message saying the input was different for each person. I was like, there is so much little care. Not little care, sorry. There are so many times where there's just like little things that I bumped into where I was like, so much care has been put into this. It's incredible. I'm genuinely impressed by this. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, this is such a fun thing to work on. I am scared. I've seen some of the puzzles from like day 20, day 22, and I'm going to be honest, it's probably above my pay grade when it comes to all the math, and like some of them seems like really interesting pathing and graphing problems. Super fun. We'll see how far we can get in Bash, but I can't make any promises when it comes to the later challenges. Oh man, I try to make it good, and I've definitely had a few years to improve it. Well, dude, honestly, this is so much fun. This is so cool. I'm so glad someone randomly messaged me on Discord, and they were like, hey man, you doing Advent of Code this year? And I was like, what's that? I was like, I don't even know what that is. So when I looked into it, I'm like, this is awesome. I have to do it. This is super fun. And I love it. Like I said, I think I said the puzzles take me about 45 minutes. It's like a perfect time. I don't know. It's just like, yeah, it's really good. I think the puzzles are like the right amount of challenging, the right amount of clever. I love the little story that like follows the whole thing. It's cute. It's a ton of fun. Oh man. If you want a totally different set of puzzles, many of the ones from 2019 involve building and then using a virtual machine. Okay, that's sick. I'm going to check that out. That sounds awesome. That sounds wild. That sounds really cool. Yeah, I'm curious to see how you even like implemented that. But I have to say, just the way that these puzzles work, where I have example input and you walk through the example input and then you show what the solution is, it makes it so easy for me to iterate that by the time I'm using the real input, I'm like basically confident it's going to work. Famous last words, I could eat this when I go into like day 7, day 8. Maybe I'll get tougher. Like, I know it's going to get tougher, but yeah, no, this is cool. Yeah, I can tell just a lot of care went into this. So I think it's super neat. Oh man. Oh, well, this was quite the surprise. I have to say, I respect you waiting until I was done with the puzzle to say that, because I didn't even think anything of it. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Got someone chatting. This is awesome. Oh man. Yes, and then I show up with part 2 and invalidate all of your assumptions. I love that. You have no idea. I thought that was so cool. I don't know if you were here when I said it, but when I jumped on to part 2, I even said, like, if I were to do this as like a proper bash script, calculate safe reports, I would have taken the first one and taken some sort of like, with dampener command line flag. But because like it's cool, it invalidates all my assumptions, but it's no different than like, I don't know, some project manager coming up to you or some customer being like, hey, we also want our code to do this. It's like, you realize that's so different. That challenges every single assumption I made. Like, I didn't even realize I made these assumptions. So yeah, I love it. They're puzzles, but they're literally puzzles. Like you end up making assumptions to solve a problem, and then they have to go back on that, and you realize your inferences were incorrect. I think that's so cool. That's so funny. Let me see. I think day 1, let me remember if I did this. Calculate distance and calculate similarity score. Yeah, this one was so interesting because I first started by copying and pasting my code over, and then I sort of just ended up reworking so much of it because I was like, oh, it might not even have been useful to copy this code over. Like, what was I thinking? Let's see. Or I can use part one to give you a checkpoint of some subsystem, and then part two asks you to use it somehow, like the one you just did. I love that. I think that's so cool. Yeah. Like the first one changed how I had to, the day one had to change how I thought about the input. And you even like, that was part of the story. It was like, oh no, maybe the input is actually meaning this. I was like, okay, that's a cool thing. And then day two is like, no, 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 built on what you have, reevaluate the data with these new constraints. And like, it's, I don't know, they're done really well. Like I'm super excited for the next puzzles. Yeah, this is great. What is this index for removing the pound sign hyphen? Because now we can't do faz equals pound sign. You can escape the pound sign when you're doing that. So you can do pound backslash pound. You can do escapes to do literals that way. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I appreciate it. Like, dude, it's so much fun. Like, I think this is great. And it's funny because like I do content on Instagram mostly where I do way too much stuff in Bash and people are blown away. And I'm like, dude, I have to. Like, I love this scripting language. It's so much more powerful than people realize. So I have to approach Advent of Code using Bash. It's so much fun this way. Let's see. All I want is to make it easier for people to learn programming. So that makes me happy. That's awesome. I don't know if you're familiar with my content at all, but my channel is called You Suck at Programming. And I'm going to change the name eventually, but it's funny when people come in, they expect me to be one way. And I'm like, dude, I do this because I want you guys to learn. Like my favorite thing is to teach people and to show people things and show people how much fun it can be programming in all different ways. Like I deal with mostly sysadmin and operations and operating systems, but I love these puzzles. Like when you do these programming puzzles, it makes me better at my job. They all intermingle. Like, so it's cool to see like going through these, I have to read a whole story, then I have to find the sort of problem statement, then I have to figure out how I want to approach it, and then I have to figure out what assumptions were wrong. Like there's so much in this where it's not just here's a question, give me the answer. It's like, no, really prove your understanding. So I love that. I think this clearly encourages learning. So I think that's awesome. Let's see. Well, hopefully you can use some AOC puzzles as subjects and educational content. That's a popular use. Hey, that's awesome. That's incredible. Yo, I appreciate it so much. Like this is an awesome project. And honestly, like thank you for jumping in. That's so cool. I mean, I have to imagine it'd be fun. Like if I was in your position, like Googling Advent of Code and like live streams or seeing what content people make of it must be so much fun. It must be so cool. Like I've only recently started making programming content. When I see people like stitch my content or even talk about scripts I've written, I'm like, this is mind blowing that people would even consider something that I made. And seeing how big this is, like this has grown like crazy. Yeah, awesome project, man. That was a really nice stream. I learned a lot. Thank you, and thank you, Eric, for creating this whole thing. Yo, yeah, agreed, 100%. I like the current channel name. I like the current channel name too, but the problem is a lot of people have this assumption that like I'm going to talk down to you, and I know I do that in some of the content. It's like a joke, it's a satire type of thing. But I get some people that like actually think I'm a genuine hater. I'm like, dude, farthest thing from it. Like I want people to learn. That's at the end of the day, I want to teach things. Yeah, I float around streams whenever I have spare time. That's awesome. Yeah, I was super not expecting it to get this big. Yeah, no, I mean it's great. It's super cool. I think you tapped into something. You tapped into something where when I describe it in hindsight, it seems almost obvious, but I'm sure at the time it's like completely novel. But like, of course, engineers want puzzles. We love problem solving and being able to have, here is your input, here is what your output looks like. How you get there, that black box is up to you. And now we live in like the world of like content creation. So many people can they can stream their puzzles, they can make content around it, they can come up with different solutions. People can compete. You can have different languages talking about the performance of it. Like I don't even deal with like at my day job, I'm writing Rust and stuff, but when I'm doing this, I'm doing Bash, and my brain's already like, oh, I could redo this in Rust. I could use these crates. Like there are so many ways to think about this. I don't know. I just love it. It fires up every part of my brain. So it's super interesting. Let's see. You're scratching an itch. There isn't Bash content, but a lot of people do it. I think that's true. I think a lot of people use the shell, and a lot of people use it daily, but they don't take the time to learn how to do it. So that's what I'm here for, to show it's way more powerful than you realize. Yeah, my thought is it's hard to learn by reading, quote, here is the reverse method, but easy to learn by saying, oh no, some elves got all their strings backward. What should we do? That's huge. Like, truly what you said there is huge. I think that this is like a larger conversation about learning in general, but one of the things I try to do is be able to speak clearly and concisely and deliver content in a way where it's clear and concise. I get comments on my channel like, I've learned more in this minute and a half video than I have during a 60-minute lecture. And it's like, yeah, because this is going to sound weird, but a 60-minute lecture is easy to do. I can yap for 60 minutes. It's hard to condense that into a small amount of time and give that to someone. And I think people don't appreciate that other people can learn through different methods. So it's easy to say, here is the reverse method. It really is easy to say, here is this algorithm, go implement it. It's hard to come up with a fun story and also put education behind it. That takes work. Like, whenever there's a puzzle maker. And the puzzle maker has put in like a ton of work to help you learn and have fun. Like that, I'm super appreciative of that, but it's also just super useful for education. Don't miss my other messages about my behind the scenes talk. It sounds like you enjoyed it. Oh, sorry. Yeah. If I missed some of your messages, I apologize. I hid chat a little bit for when I was doing some of the actual work, so I wouldn't spoil anything. I didn't want people to kind of backseat too hard. I don't mind people throwing out what they think might be possible solutions, but I don't want people just to give me the answer. But yes, that sounds like I would super enjoy that. Actually, what I'm going to do is I keep a text document open at all times on my computer when I'm streaming because people give me good ideas. So, behind the scenes event of code. Cool. I wrote that down so I won't forget it. Yeah, I keep another Vim window open where I just write down notes from people in chat. Yeah, it takes months and months of work. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. Like I like to create puzzles that are the right size, the right amount of difficulty, but the difficulty, even that's so hard to get right. You have all these engineers from different backgrounds. Like for some people with a math background, some of these puzzles are probably easier. For other people with like a systems or, software engineering background, some of these puzzles that are more algorithm driven might be easier. So how do you weigh that difficulty? I can't even imagine having to work through that. Yes, difficulty is extremely personal. That makes perfect sense to me. And I mean, we see this every day. Like if you're working on a team with 5 people, a lot of the problems become less difficult because 1, 2, or 3 of those 5 people will know how to do it because different people know different things. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm sure, oh man, I can't even imagine. It must be fun looking through people's solutions to your problems and seeing how they solved it, because I'm willing to bet that you would see some novel solutions. Like you might expect, okay, here's 3 or 4 ways to solve this, but some people probably come out of the woodworking with the craziest solutions. I'd have to imagine. In general, I try to have adjacent puzzles use different skills and to have the puzzles increase in complexity rather than difficulty. Ooh, that's cool. That's a cool distinction. I would have never thought to distinguish complexity and difficulty. I like that. That's cool. I get into that more in my talk. Yeah, I'm watching. I wrote that down. I am watching your talk. This sounds super interesting. Oh man, this is awesome. There are tons and tons of solutions every day on our subreddit, and every solution is wildly different. That is so cool. Oh man. Okay, let me write that down too. Subreddit for Advent of Code. Cool, because that seems like something to check out. I never really browsed Reddit or anything. So it'd be fun to check that out. Let's see. Pretty sure a few people did a few years in Excel. That's wild. That is absolutely incredible. Not only the more efficient one, but like the ones that are more original, like the guy who solves them in NVim. See, yeah, that's super cool. I love like unique solutions like that. Excel, Minecraft, or on graph paper. There's something so beautiful about that. Like stretching a tool so far that it's so far out of its original intention. You're like, are you supposed to do this? It's like, well, they did. Like, it's one of those things where you look, you're like, this shouldn't work, but it does. And it's just, yeah, that's, I don't know. That's so cool. That's so cool. I'm still thinking about what an entrance told me to check the first sentence of the about page. Man, that was well played. That was incredible. How funny. Oh, I love that. That's great. Whew. Oh man. All right. Well, I am excited. I did day 3's problem in Shell. Hey, that's great. That's going to be my plan. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm going to call the stream here. But I'll probably stream again, maybe tomorrow night. I don't know, whenever I have free. But it'll be like towards this time of night. When did I start streaming? like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 4 or 5 Pacific. So yeah, I'll probably do that, and I'll probably try to knock out 2 more puzzles. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm trying not to like stream any of the current day's things or anything that can mess with the leaderboard. I'm just kind of doing them a day or two after the fact, just for fun, just because it'll be fun to go through this, and I'm enjoying it, and why not share it with the people who follow me on here. So yeah, of course, gotta plug myself. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe, yada, yada, yada. I have cool videos coming up soon. People are interested in my reviewing of AI bash scripts. I have 2 more videos recorded, 25 minutes and an hour. So get ready for that new content. It's great. Other than that, don't forget that my website, you can reach my website in your terminal by curling ysap.sh. And it doesn't format super great because it's a little bit stretched out. Let me open my terminal just a little bit. There you go. Don't forget that you can curl my website to see it, or you can just go there in your browser and check it out. So yeah, gotta plug my stuff. But yeah, thank you everyone for stopping by. I'm gonna call the stream here, and thank you Eric for this amazing like project you've created. It's so cool. I'm so glad you stopped by. This was super cool, like really awesome. I would have never expected that, because in my mind, Advent of Code is this huge giant thing that's been going on for a while, and for the creator to hop in here, I'm like, what? That person's famous. Like, that's a celebrity. What are you talking about? They would never jump into my stream. So that's super cool. Thank you so much for stopping by and giving me all your insight. And what a compliment to say that you appreciate the way that I talk and code at the same time. I have actually worked on improving that. So I appreciate that compliment more than you know. So yeah, thank you everyone for stopping by, and I'll be streaming again around the same time. Don't know when, probably the next couple days, and we'll knock out day 3 and day 4, and we'll try to see how far we can get. So yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone. Appreciate it so much. Well, it's true. Hey, I appreciate that so much. That's such a nice compliment. You have no idea. That's gonna stick with me for a while. I'm gonna remember that one for a long time. And yeah, I will check out your behind the scenes video, because that sounds super interesting. Oh man, I'm excited for that. Oh man. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone for stopping by. And yeah, that's it. See you everyone. Now I have to figure out how to stop streaming. I'm like a boomer when it comes to this software. Stop streaming. All right, see ya.